right. So this time I have Cody here with me. What we're actually going to do is kind of go over his program from roughly about a year ago. Uh, we're his best snatch at the time we were estimating at 135, and his best clean and jerk we said was what 185. So those were the numbers he was going off of. Um, and then last year around this time, well, Cody in his training cycle he did a 131 snatch for a double, and then a 180 clean and jerk, a 2+1. And then we made this cool little chart, Excel chart here, that does a bunch of cool formula stuff. It takes his best numbers and it pops out all this cool information. And then so I wanted to kind of go back to what he did from that year ago and look at his 8-week cycle. And before we get into that, we'll kind of take a look at his lift. This was his 131.
Wow.
Never mind the music.
Yeah. This was my PR 131 for a double. Yeah. I actually really didn't like this at the time. I thought my overhead was probably the most painful it had ever been.
Yeah, so that was 131. We didn't catch anything you said because your music of What were you saying there?
I was saying that was my PR with 131 for a double.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be like a 95% attempt for the day because we were talking back and forth kind of at the time of.
During the session, yes.
Yeah, and you were telling me like, hey, if it feels good, go up. And I was sending you in-person videos, and you're like, oh, these look good, these look good. And so we only were supposed to go up to 85% for a double for sets, and it turned up to go to 95% attempting an all-time PR double.
And then, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I thought my pull felt really strong. I hated my catch. It was so painful in my shoulder at the time. I was still fighting through how poorly I used to catch it. I mean, I used to be so vertical and backwards with my head.
It was like slightly forward, right?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, just like your life, but and then after the 131, double, it was like a day or two later, we did it was supposed to be the same, a 2+1 around 85% of a clean and jerk. And even after the snatch, you still kind of felt good. So let's kind of take a look at this. Your music selection is on point.
I was super impressed with these.
So that was the 180, and then even with that whole second clean crash that just obliterated you still were able to stand it up and jerk. Yeah. So again, what we're kind of doing here is kind of go back and see what allowed you to do these kind of numbers during training. This was a week before a meet as well, right?
Yeah, that was the week before my meet where we went pretty casual. I think like 134, 180, no problem at all, actually.
Yeah, they look pretty easy, and the misses were technical, not necessarily strength related. This was when you were competing in the 81 class. You're an 89 now, but do you remember how much you weighed at this week, this date?
Oh, I was easily in the 86, 87 territory.
You're an 86, 87. So you're still, you're 89 now. So if we could match these numbers even today, that would be great.
I mean, I'm walking around currently at 87. So,
okay. So
right there in that same body weight. I think I just naturally sit there.
So
that'd be nice.
Again, we're kind of taking it back 8 weeks prior to these lifts is what we took it. I took his program, looked at what he did 8 weeks prior, broke it all down. Have information here. This is his whole training program for the 8 weeks. And then all these cool little things happen here. And then voila. This is what it is. So we look at the total of your total tonnage moved, your average intensity, and the amount of reps. So clearly, it was a very snatch dominant program
Mm-hmm.
because Cody's clean and jerk is far more superior than his snatch. So there was always a little bit more emphasis in his snatch work. If he did 4 sets of clean jerks, he would do 5 sets of snatches, so on down the line. Um, Mind you, these say clean total and jerk totals, which the total amount of cleans he does is 11%, total amount of jerks he does is 13%. So if he does 1 clean and jerk, a 1+1, 1 rep would count towards a clean, 1 rep would count towards a jerk, is what this whole thing is going about. And you could see his squat total because he's not a great squatter.
I would disagree.
At the time, were you? I think you were a pretty good
He's a
squatter at
really
the time.
good back squatter, or I'm sorry, front squatter, not a great back squatter.
Yeah, well, yeah, so this takes into account of the back and the front squat, but not necessarily any other form of squatting. And then so you look at the total tonnage moved in all of this stuff. Far more weights obviously moved in the squats and the pulls because you're working with higher percentages. Cody hasn't seen this yet, so I mean, he's going to be asking me questions probably as we go. Then we take a look at his overall reps versus intensity. So never mind the sum of intensity. That verbiage does not make sense. That should just be intensity. The orange is the reps, how many reps he's doing. The blue is the average intensity. So like every other program in the world, you start off earlier with higher volume versus intensity. And as you get towards a peak, you're going to see higher intensities with less volume. So nothing kind of drastic to see about this, which kind of confirms here, you're going to see as the average intensity goes up, the number of repetitions are kind of going down.
I really like that setup, by the way. That's really cool.
You like numbers and colors and arrows.
It's the colors that do it for me. It's like, yes, Dave, man.
Yeah.
This is happening.
And then this one's going to be a little bit hard to see, but his total weekly reps by exercise. We'll come back to this probably a little bit later. I would like to color coordinate this a little better so you could kind of see what's going on. Obviously, we have more squat volume than anything else because, 10 reps at 80% squat is not nearly as taxing as 10 reps of 80% snatches, right? So you'll naturally see more squat volume, squat and pull volume here. This is kind of where now we just kind of get broken down by exercise, and kind of the next thing I'd like to do here is try to get these charts or these graphs on one page. But the cool thing to see is how the intensity is kind of going up here while your volume is going down, and then the week 5 and 6, both of them are still kind of climbing or staying high. Which I think does good for you. For some reason, I like to believe that Cody could handle volume of a beginner, 15-year-old female that could probably do 9 reps in a week. But so Cody can handle far more volume, which is why you're going to see, even though closer towards peak, he's still increasing in volume.
That's about right, yeah.
For the clean. This is just for cleans. I do like this, which I believe allows for week 6 to happen, is where our 1, 2, 3, our volume is going up a lot while our intensity stays the same. So we're just getting a lot more practice at lighter loads, which is allowing everything to kind of move together here. What I don't see, what I would have liked to see in this program is the same flow in the jerks, because you'll see, again, I got to get this on one page, but the jerk is a little bit different here, and it's not as much to scale as I would like it to be either, but you see the drastic change in the jerk intensities here.
I think I can speak to that too.
Okay, go for it, please.
During week 4 was the week where we started moving from 2 front squats plus 2 jerks to maximum. I think we moved into doing it towards 2 front squats and 1 jerk at 80 to 85%. And since we moved down in the volume of the jerk alone and kept the number of front squats and increased the intensity, I think it was to 85%. I started struggling with that. overhead, I think. And so that was why we cut that down on week 4.
Okay. So we cut your volume down. I think I could speak for the intensity here too, because I'm a huge fan of not practicing split jerks till about 5, 6, 7 weeks out of competition, where everything's just really about power jerks and push jerks and push presses and stuff like that. So I think now is where it is kind of we brought the split jerks out, where you could handle a little bit more higher intensity in the split jerks. But that would explain what's happening here in this really wonky look of intensity versus volume. Pull volume, volume stays kind of high. I'm trying to understand why week 2 has this drastic dip in volume versus intensity.
I think with week 2, we were starting to move towards doing more pulls. Mm-hmm. And on my end, I wasn't taking as long with my warm-ups. So week 2 volume was kind of low because I would probably skip directly to my 80 or 75% pulls.
Okay.
Without ever doing warm-ups. Whereas week 3, 4, and on, you were starting to program 85 and 90 and 95% pulls. Mm-hmm. So I had to take time to warm up actually.
Yeah, and what I kind of do like to see here, what I feel like is very important to note is that there's not a huge change or difference in intensity versus volume, and it never kind of adjusts leading into competition, where the volume of pulls are actually going up all the way up to the final week.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting to see that.
Yeah,
even on
intensities either going up or staying flat. So
yeah,
that's something I think we should try leading into
kind of keeping me conditioned with heavier pulls.
Yeah.
That's good for my back strength. Stay back there real quick. Go back to that. Sure. It's interesting to look at week 7, because week 7 I think was the week I did the doubles, correct?
Yes.
To see that be my highest, well, second highest volume compared to week 3, but highest volume and intensity combined, that's really interesting to me because, I mean, I guess since we are doing upwards of a max out for the clean, to see that and still be able to do the 2+1 at the end of the week, I'm sure most of my pulls didn't come from that final day either.
No, because you weren't doing 2+1s. You're just doing full snatch and clean jerk. So
yeah,
that means we probably moved all your pulls into that Saturday, the final training movement of the week, and then early in the week too. And keep in mind that it was probably a volume day where our plan was to just go up to 85%, and it just randomly happened that we went to a top 95%. So
kind of peaked out.
So you still did the workload. It's just we went a little bit more on the intensity. So I'm assuming what we should have seen here was that blue dot a little bit lower. That's what we probably should be seeing if we stuck to the 85%.
To prepare for the next week.
Prepare for the top.
Almost like peaked early or something like that.
Yeah, but you didn't because you still had a great competition day. So
I think I just maintained my conditioning pretty well at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's important for someone like Cody who needs to
have a lot of volume.
Especially competition week. Cody is like a volume whore where he's just like, I need to do something. And
I do really need to. I mean, I like waking up the day of and still moving at least with a barbell.
Yeah. And I think this whole system here kind of shows that you need volume, whether it's 60% lifts, 50% lifts. Is just got to get moving around. We'll take a look at the snatches here as soon as it pops up. Oh no, you know what? I didn't get the snatches in yet. That's why.
Why is that?
We didn't get that far yet.
No.
Formula stuff. We were able to do all the formula pivot table stuff for everything but the squat and the snatch, which is the thing I wanted to see.
Let's go back up. Yeah, there it is.
This one, we'll get that one next time. But this is
interesting.
Kind of cool project thing that I'm working on here, where it will take all your training. Like you could just take any training program in any kind of format it is, and then it'll pop it in and read out and break down your entire program for you.
I like seeing this purely because it gives me an idea as an athlete exactly how much I need, like really need volume wise and intensity wise to feel good. I mean, that week to week breakdown, knowing that like where I was and how mentally prepared I felt to attack some PRs with most of my volume being towards squat and pulls, that's insane to me. I was actually thinking it would be at the time more towards like my snatch and clean and jerk, but in reality it's not.
So while we're kind of here, what will
Oh no, we're gonna see some stuff. Oh no.
this is Cody's current 17-week training program. We're currently in week 4,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I kind of wanted to mimic the same amount of volume that he had for that 8-week cycle. And again, it's that 8-week cycle will probably start mimicking this world right here when we get into 8 of 17. Week 17
Mm-hmm.
is week 17 is AO finals week. So assuming that's going to happen, this is what we're kind of preparing for. So I didn't write out his entire 17-week program as we go week by week, but each little block, 3 or 4 week block, has an emphasis on it. So right now we're in week 4, where we're just really focusing on really tall, high turnovers, pulling really strongly. So you're going to see a little bit more emphasis on his pulls versus anything else. In about a week or 2, we're going to start drilling in his squats. So anyway, this is kind of cool. And this is something we'll probably get into when we get into this world here. We'll probably do another video and talk about, and then have this little program thing pop out what his program looks like. Any questions, buddy?
No, actually, I'm kind of curious to do more reviews of the week to week of my current program. Now that I see that you have that Excel sheet up, I kind of want to know, based on how I feel each week, what that week did to me, what you had programmed for, and if I kind of met what your goal was and how I'm feeling week to week on that. Because if you have a
That's
power,
what you're supposed to input in all your stuff I tell you to do, or like how'd you sleep, how'd you eat that you don't do.
I did it this week. I do it all the time.
You
I'm
do it.
perfect.
You did it twice a day for like 3 days, and then you stopped.
You told me not to.
I told you don't bother me with it every day. Just write it in your notes.
That's
Huge
fair.
fan of statistics and data. So anyway, this is kind of his program overview. I'd like to see how this works leading into AO finals, which pretty much banking on the idea that this works, and then you're gonna have a great AO finals. That's what we're hoping for. So if we have a great meet, that means all this statistical data and planning will help us. If we have a horrible meet, all these videos that we ever did, I'm deleting them. It never happened.
It's all trash. We don't exist. Don't look for us. Don't Google us. It's over.
Again, so let's kind of recap Cody here. It's great clean and jerker, not as great snatcher. Right now, his volume in snatching is far superior than his volume in the clean and jerk. However, we get his clean and jerk work through a lot more pulls and squatting. Typically, if he could stand it, he has a good shot at finishing it. So let's learn to catch. He needs to be able to pull it to catch it, and once he catches it, he needs to be able to stand it if he wants a shot at the jerk. So we kind of stay focused on the pull and the squat and the snatch, and then the clean and jerk will kind of find its way home when it needs to.
It's just more of a full send at that point.
Yeah, then it's
I think with snatch though, we're making a lot of headway. I mean, I PR'd my power snatch for the first time in a year, 2 years maybe.
When was
by
this?
kilograms. 2 months ago.
Okay, cool. So right now, Cody doesn't do anything above 70 or 75% in the snatch. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, I'm doing mostly complexes right now.
Yeah,
Just
it's
getting
complexes. So it's all about like, training
conditioning.
little things about like high turnovers, getting your elbows up higher, kind of stuff. So
finishing my extension.
yes, high turnovers.
Oh, so difficult. Oh.
Yeah. So
So much.
anyway, this is it. Thanks for listening, and then we'll keep everybody, all two of you, posted.
Thanks, everybody.